All right, good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining us. I'm going to start off with two quick questions. If I could get a show of hands, that would be great. How many of you guys in the last month have done some online shopping, bought some clothes? Okay, a couple of you, couple of you. Probably a more interesting question, maybe more niche. Has anyone ever tried a clothing subscription model? Stitch Fix, Athletics. Okay, we got a couple. So maybe you'll like our site then. We are a subscription-based clothing model where on a monthly basis users can choose from a basic, premium, or VIP plan, and based off that plan select from a certain number of clothes. Now, one of the worst parts about online shopping, in my opinion, is seeing that final price. No one likes that big total price at checkout. We don't want to see it in the 200s. We don't want to see it in the 300s. We like nice and want to see free. So with this, you get free at the end. You pay at the start of the month. All the clothes are already yours. Just pick what you want. Now, when this idea was first pitched to us on the first day of Sprint 1, we needed to get started. So on GitHub, we put all our ideas and repositories together, and we have well over, I believe, 300 commits at this point. You can kind of see the volume and the frequency of things we've been adding, getting rid of things that don't work, adding things that fix solutions, all of that's been in there, and that's only half the story. Now with GitHub, as I'm sure everyone knows, you have run into a lot of issues, and we've tried to deal with those as best as possible and push forward. And then to divvy up the work between each of the individuals, we used Basecamp as our project management tool. Basecamp pretty much allowed the project manager for that week, it would rotate to assign tasks, tentative due dates, etc. And it also had another great feature, which was a Kanban board, which meant that people could add cards, as you can see here, to do, completed, in progress, and it really showed the rest of the team, hey, this is what I'm working on currently, and we didn't really have to micromanage each other, which is another great thing. Now, before we get into the fun stuff with the website, I just want to run you through our development stack really quick. We went with React for the front end. It was great as we were to split the UI into different components rather than having like one super long page of information. The subscriptions were all its own component, the footer was its own, etc. The back end, full React stack, was Node.js and Express, and database SQL made the most sense as it integrated pretty well, and we were all super familiar with it. Now that being said, let's get into the functionalities of the website.
This is where I take over here. Okay. So for the functionality here, we've got some pretty basic features. So first off, I'm going to show you here is the login functionality. So we, as did everyone else, had Google OAuth. So you're going to see me go ahead and log in very easily here with, let's use my school account. And you're going to see my little icon appear at the top right, showing I am in fact logged in, and there is session handling. And then with this now, we can select these different subscription plans and enter our email address to make sure we got all that down, as well as some of our payment information, and then we can choose to subscribe. And again, as always, as with the previous team, we weren't trying to be PCI DSS compliance for this project, so we don't actually handle any of that information. So again, here we've got some of this, and then some missed out functionality here. We didn't quite get around to it yet, was these categories where we had different things and you could select them and it would show you the categories, the different types of clothing from each category. But what we do have here is our functioning catalog. So with this now, we have these different items, and we can add them to cart and get a nice little notification. And let's say I wanted those jeans and then this jacket. We'll add them, and then we could view our cart here, and we can see, look at that. We've got some pants, we've got a jacket. And so, I don't actually want that jacket. It's a bit too tacky for me right now. So I'm going to go ahead and remove it. And it's gone now. So I could go ahead and proceed to checkout, and we can see the total is included in the plan. Isn't that great? So we proceed to checkout, and again, this is where you would enter your payment details if we were doing that. But alas, we are not. And then I've got I could actually update this catalog here to have another entry here if I do that on my end. Just run a quick command here. All right, and now if I go ahead and refresh this page, we can see we have just added a new entry. And so just like that, we're able to update our catalog and bring new products to our customers. I believe that about does it for our functionality there.
So how did we get to this point? It was a long process. We ran through a lot of challenges, and I'm going to tell you guys a story that kind of encapsulates some of those challenges, how we persisted through, and some of the lessons that kind of came from it. So about 2 weeks ago, I think, to this point, we booted up the website, and it was completely white. The entire front end had broke, and no one knew what happened. It was like we hadn't done any work the entire semester. It was just white and blank. And to give you a little bit of context, 2 weeks ago was the start of the last sprint. So this was crunch time. This was like Game 7 of the playoffs, 2-minute drive to the Super Bowl. This was like, we need to push forward right here. And eventually we figured out that the problem was we had a const function, which in JavaScript development is use it to define a constant variable. It was outside of the React component, so our system was reading it before it actually ever existed, breaking the entire front end. Now this was a very small issue. It wasn't like this big crash. It wasn't, someone deleted something really important. Really one small detail derailed us for a little bit, but the team was able to get together. We found out the issue through a bunch of debugging. I think we eventually mapped it to be that checkout file or whatever it was, and we solved the issue. And we ran into a lot of these throughout the semester. And the first book we read in the teaching portion of our class talked about blameless postmortems, and it talked about expecting issues rather than being scared of them or avoiding them. They're going to be inevitable, so you want them to come. And when you read it from a book, it all sounds well and dandy. It's nice. It's great. When it happens in real life, it's a lot more frustrating. And we still were able to persist. We got to this point. In the page, we have a lot of great functions going for us. And one that we wanted to point out that we really thought brought our page together was the object storage. So before we had that finalized, we had the login function, we had the UI kind of done. It looked nice, but it didn't really feel like that online shopping experience. So when we were able to get this finalized, have the add to cart function, be able to check out, be able to log in, it really felt more like the idea we pitched on that first day of the sprint, which was that subscription-based online shopping experience. And while it may not be 100% perfect, we really did hit that goal, and we're happy with the outcome that we had in terms of that. So with that being said, I thank you all for listening to our presentation today. We appreciate it very much.
Here's the book he was talking about. A couple years old, but still a goodie. Oldie but goodie. And we have a few minutes for quick questions.
So I could see that you deployed it on the IIT edu DNS. So first of all, he showed that he pushed that everything on the GitHub, and might be then it will deploy on our internal cloud, right? So can anyone show the process how he can push on cloud?
Yes, we can show you the infrastructure.
Yeah.
After we're done with all the presentations, we'll have some breakout time and we can sit down and show you that exact process. Yes. That's a good question. We'll definitely show that. Anyone else? Michael, did you have a question?
I noticed when you added the new objects, you were showing something like the names for basic 906, like new pounds and the like. Was that intentional, or was that just?
Those are the names of the shoes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, those are just the names of the shoes. It's not like some ID or anything that we use internally.
Okay.
Yep, no problem. Thanks for the clarification.
And a quick question too. You mentioned the point about having the bug and the screen going all white kind of at the end. Did, like when you go to the doctor, they say rate your level of pain 1 to 10. What was your level of fear? Was there a fear that we're not going to recover? What was the fear level that you've overcome?
Alarms were flashing. I'm not gonna lie to you in everyone's head, but there was no way we were not gonna recover. I feel like eventually we would have found the solution to it. It came at a poor time, like I said. Start of sprint 5, very important starting point. We really needed to push there, but there was never a point where I say, we were not gonna solve it. Yeah.
talked about blameless postmortems. Can you walk us through like what that troubleshooting process looked like for you guys as a team?
For our group as a team, yes. So blameless postmortem, just in case anyone doesn't remember, is when something goes wrong, it's important not to put blame on someone for it going wrong. Let's rather solve this problem instead. What we did as a group, again, no one wanted to blame each other, and we didn't really know, what caused the issue in the first place. How does a line of code, someone maybe just editing it, honest mistake. So rather than blame each other, we all it actually really took everyone on the team to figure out which file had the issue and debug it. So we tried our best throughout the entire sprint. Don't blame anyone. Let's solve the issue, but just keep pushing forward. And that's really those 3 steps are really important in that process.
Anyone else? Quick question?
As you're saying, you work as a team, like few people work on this project. So how you maintain the GitHub? Like if you've done anything, so you like how you are pushing your code into the your repository. I mean.
Yeah. So everyone used pull requests whenever possible to try and avoid merge conflicts. But I'm sure, as you all know, merge conflicts are inevitable. They're kind of like traffic in Chicago. You try to avoid them, you're gonna end up in them anyway. So that was like the main reason. Yeah, and when we ran into issues, just trying our best to solve them so they didn't get worse. And if you have to revert back, you have to revert back, because it is what it is.
Okay, one last question actually. Whenever I also create websites, but always I thought that it is not standing out to the market. It is not standing out. It is looking like a college project. So I have that scareness. So how you overcome that one? Like it's showing it's like if you look at the UI, it's showing it's standing out in the market. So when you feel that while coding or while doing that, this is nice one.
So I think that process starts with our idea. Having a niche idea helps. There's not many subscription-based coding models out there right now. And on top of that, we used Figma, which is pretty much it helps you build out your UI just through images and stuff without any code. So once you're happy with your design, and we had DJ actually do the initial mock-up, and she did a great job with that. Once you're happy with your design, try and make it as modern as possible. Go for the look you're going for. Don't try and conform to what's already out there right now. And I think that really helps you stand out, and regardless of what market you're in.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Thank you very much, team.
Thank you guys.